Hey, and welcome to Teagsley Talks. I'm Tegan, a wellness enthusiast, conscious creator, and life learner, where we talk all things well-being, spirituality, lifestyle, and mindset. I give you an inside look at my brain, my habits, and the life I live, so together we can live our dream lives. Here we are a community of loving souls wanting to live incredible lives and feel wildly good doing it. Join me every week as I download the next potty of goodness.
Hello, my lovely souls, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm Teags, your host, and today we are going to speak to how to create a podcast, how I've created my podcast, and how to move through the fear of being misunderstood. So if this feels like something that you're wanting to do, or just a fear that you're moving through, or even just to move through a fear that you have, this podcast is for you. But like always, let's dive into a little bit of breath work, move through life update, intention, and then we'll dive into the topic. So for our breath work, we are going to do a 3-part inhale and then an exhale for the length of the inhale. So what we do is we're just going to breathe in for 3, hold, in for 3, hold, in for 3, hold. Now, to go straight into this, it can feel a little bit like you can't quite get the right count. So what you're going to do is you're just going to inhale 1/3, inhale 2/3, and then inhale to the rest. And then we hold and then exhale for as long as you can. So we'll do 3 rounds. So all together, when you're ready, and if you have the space, you can do this while you're walking or whatever you're doing, driving, just leave your eyes open. Okay, so everyone take a nice just deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Now inhale 1/3, hold, inhale 2/3, hold, inhale to the top, hold, and then exhale nice and long. Inhale 1/3, hold, inhale 2/3, hold, inhale to the top, and hold, and exhale. The last one, inhale in, hold, inhale, hold, inhale to the top, holding at the top, and exhale out. I love that type of breath. It just really helps with igniting the brain, getting clarity and energy. So if you can't already tell, I've actually been a little bit unwell for the last, basically since getting home from Sanua. It was really, really bad for about 4 days there, where I basically just laid on the couch, just so unable to do anything. And then eventually I was able to really do all the things to care for myself, which I did anyway, but there were just a couple of days there where I was just so exhausted. I basically, one day I woke up at 7, I did my medi, had brekkie, and then I think I went for the smallest speech walk, got home, and then at 10 o'clock I went back to sleep till 1. I was just exhausted, so crook. I had this massive migraine that was in the right side of my face, in the back of my head. My body was aching. I just had no energy for the day. The smallest 10-minute walk exhausted me till the end of the day. So anyway, I did all the things. I was on lots of herbal things. I took some supplements. I was making sure I was getting so many fruits, so many vegetables, and not having sugars, not having gluten, not having dairy, just making sure I was really taking care of my nutrition. I was meditating twice a day for 20 minutes. I was getting as much sleep as I could, as much sun as I could. It was not great weather, and then it was a bit sunny. And then, it took me basically 4 days to get over it. And now I just have like a little bit of like a lingering, like little bit of congestion. So anyway, I'm feeling a lot better now. And that is why we didn't have a podcast last week. I honestly just did not have the energy. And if you have a podcast or you do any type of work like this, you know how much energy and effort that goes into it, which you're basically going to hear about today. So you can really understand that it needs a little bit more energy than a 10-minute walk energy that I had. I was saying to Zach that like I have been sick so much this year, and it's always after my trips that I go away. And I think there's a couple of reasons for that. One is the sleep amount that we get is just, it's not enough for me personally, which I find really hard because I'm such a sleep, like I just have such a strict regime because I know what makes me feel 110%. So that's just what I do. I just have such a high boundary with that. So then when we're on the trips, it's really hard to get good quality, lengthy sleeps. You're also on from 7 a.m. till 10, 11, 12 p.m. at night. Like they are huge days. Like I understand how amazing it looks. Like I get to go to Samoa, Fiji, like all these beautiful Pacific Islands, and everything is like so beautiful. But like, I'm being real, like they are huge days. You have like 30 to 50 kids to look after, and you're awake all day, switched on all day. So I just noticed that at the end of the trips, like I'm just super exhausted. So that's just something for me to kind of work on to make sure I can manage that, so then I can continue going on the trips and feeling better when I get home. I don't mind getting home and being exhausted because I love the trip and I love what we get to do with the students. So I just need to figure out a way to make sure I can really care for myself so that when I do then end up going through the airports, I don't pick up these things that I keep picking up. So that's just for me to figure out. So I think, I sat next to a couple of people that were a bit under the weather when I got on the plane, and I sat next to them for however many hours, went through the dirty airports, touched all the things. And even though I have my sanitizer, I think honestly my immune system is so low by the time I get onto the flight and through the airports that I'm basically just ready to pick something up, even though I do as much as I can. So anyway, I've been sick quite a lot this year, which is so new to me because I'm never sick. And like, even if I do get sick, it's usually just like, I'm a little bit run down. I'll be a bit run down for a couple of days, or maybe the weather has changed up, but I'm really cold. So that's just for me to figure out to make sure I can continue the trips and finishing, not being so unwell. I'm all good now. I'm pretty much back to normal, so that feels good. I have just spent the week really working on my nutrition still, like getting back into the routines and rhythms and rituals and everything that I do. So it's starting to feel really good. I've been working a lot again back onto learn to meditate. So it is coming soon. It's honestly just the computer stuff, the behind the scenes sort of stuff that really takes me a lot of energy because I just have no idea. So once that's all figured out, it'll be all good to go. So make sure you're still staying in the know. Oh, I also went and seen a network spinal chiro, which has been really cool to kind of dive into. And I want to get back to her to sort of do that regularly, just as a evolution sort of, what is it called? I just want to do it for like the evolution of me to continue growing spiritually connected to myself. Like I just want to keep growing in that sense. So if you have done network spinal, let me know what kind of results that you got from it, because I want to do it for a few things. My back, obviously, which actually I haven't updated you guys, but I think the last update that I gave you about my lower back was it had completely gone and I was not experiencing pain. But I would say in the last month, the pain has come back. So probably need to go see the osteo again, do another meditation. And I haven't been in the gym for quite a while. I was sick, went to Samoa, and then the week before summer. I can't remember, but it feels like ages since I've been in the gym. So now that I'm feeling better, I can get back into it. So yeah, I really want to do the network spinal for my back, but also just for like other parts of my body. You know, they can tell you so many things from your spine and the energy and everything that's coming from your body. Your body doesn't lie. So yeah, that's just something that I want to dive into. So I just need to work my work schedule to make sure that fits. But yeah, I've just been enjoying my walks. Zach's been joining me on lots of my sunrise walks, which has been amazing because yeah, it's just nice to do it with him. And I do definitely still enjoy doing it on my own too, like, you know, independent girl. But it is nice just to start the morning with him as well and just to have that little moment together in the morning. So that's been really wholesome. Oh, and the other day, literally, I think this was when Zach and I were both so unwell. We're just sitting, I was like laying in the sun and Zach was laying inside and we hear this massive bang and I like came inside thinking Zach had like, I don't know, fallen over or something or dropped something. I was like, are you okay? And he's like, oh, there's a bird. And then we go outside and this bird had like knocked himself out on the window because where we live, we back on to the national park, but all around us is like this beautiful, like our neighbor just has this like beautiful garden beside us. There's like trees all over us and everything. And so there's so many birds and bugs and snakes and insects and butterflies and all the things. And he picks up this bird and it's like a little black bird. And I'll tell you the name of it because I asked one of the locals what this bird was. Anyway, this bird was like fully knocked out. And so I just said, like, let's take him outside so he can, like, when he regains his consciousness, he'll fly away. Anyway, this bird, like, just sat on Zach's hand for, like, probably 30 minutes. And even when he tried to put him back on the grass, he, like, kept, like, climbing back onto Zach's hand. So anyway, we were just, like, hanging out with this bird and then yeah, probably like 30 minutes later, the bird finally like flew away and had its consciousness back. And then another little blackbird started attacking him. And I was so worried that we touched him too young and all these things. But anyway, I think he's hopefully okay. And they sorted out their little issue. This bird's name, if you're local to my area, you'll probably know this bird. But I don't think we have these over west, or I've not seen this bird. But it's basically a black small-ish bird, smaller than like a lark, and he's black with blue like shiny feathers. They're really, really pretty birds. Anyway, this bird is called a spangled drongo, which I thought was so funny because I feel like, I don't know what the word drongo actually means, but like if we did something silly or funny or like weird or whatever as kids, mum would call us a drongo, like it's kind of like a funny, we would just always say like, oh, you're drongo. Like, I don't know. I don't actually know what it means. But anyway, the bird was called a spangled drongo. So that was really fun to learn. So anyway, the bird is off and he's having a great life. So that was fab. Oh, and also, oh my God, this whole schmozzle around my car tires. So if you're new here, I live on the beach. So you literally have to drive on the beach, like on the sand, to get to my house. And it's about 6 kilometers. And it's tidal. So some days it's fine, you're driving on hard sand. Other days you're driving on the soft boggy sand. Sometimes it's bad. Sometimes there's like even ocean water up there. And sometimes I can't get home. So the car is in the sand, the salt, every single day. And we are also on rainwater. So we can't fully wash the car every single day because otherwise we wouldn't have any water. So we've been seeing the same mechanic for the year and a half that we've been here, and he's been like maintaining everything and whatnot. Anyway, I was due for some new tires. So I went and got some new tires. I take it to the tire place and basically they call me out into the workshop and they show me the state of my car. Now, if you're also new here and you don't know what car I own, but I have a Toyota Land Cruiser Troopy. These cars, they're quite renowned for their rust. I don't know why, but they just tend to rust a bit easier than other cars. So he shows me the brake rotors and it basically looks like a shipwreck. So I was like holy shit, what the hell? And he's like, it's kind of actually unsafe about how rusty this is. And in my head, I'm thinking, bloody hell, didn't we do our brake, rotors, calipers and everything in the last service? Anyway, he shows me that. Then he goes, the real reason I need to bring you out to the workshop is to show you the tire. I'm like, yeah. So there's 3 tires currently off the car and there's 1 still on. And there's 2 guys standing beside it with these like massive like mallet-like things. I don't actually know what you call it, but it's like a rubber hammer, like a mallet. Anyway, this tall 6'2" big fella is sweating with this mallet in his hand. And then this kind of like, he looks shorter because he's like underneath the car with another mallet, sweating, smacking the like, well, hitting the tire as hard as he can. And basically the tire has rusted itself on like the rim and the whatever that thing is called in there, rusted together. So it's expanded with the rusting and it's stuck on there. So I'm like, okay, well, you're going to get it off, right? And they're like, yeah, we're going to try. I'm like, okay, well, okay, I'll just go back inside and wait. And then like 30 minutes later, I hear them stop banging. And I thought, cool, they must like, they figured it out. Then the guy comes and he goes, hey, so do you need your car this afternoon to go home? I said, yeah, and I really need to get the car like now before I miss the tides because it's high tide. He's like, oh, okay. Right, well, we need to still put the tires on and we're going to need your car back because we can't get the tire off. So I was like, wait, well, how are you going to get the tire off? They're like, oh, we just need a bit more time. We're going to do this. So anyway, by the time they put the tires on and they did whatever they did and came and got me, it was too late for me to get home anyway. So I got the car, got 3 new tires, and the one that they couldn't get off is the one that keeps going flat and has a nail in it. So go figure. So I still have to keep like pumping up the tire because it goes flat every couple of days. Anyway, so I get the car, I look at the tide and it's like 1.7. And at the moment, 1.7 means you're not driving on the beach unless you want to drive through the ocean, basically through the ocean at 1.7 at the moment. So I was like, okay, that's fine. It's cool. Like I already planned, in case things ran a bit late, like I already had my laptop. So I went and did a couple of jobs and then I took myself out for dinner. We have this Mexican place that's close by and their fish tacos are so good. And if you know me, I love the fish tacos. Anyway, so I took myself out for fish tacos, did a little bit of study, and I just waited till 8. Then I went and picked up Zach some of his dinner. And then I went to the beach and then drove onto the beach. And this was a day that I really thought, today's a day I get bogged. I have been here for 1.5 years now. And the beach has definitely had its days where you're like, oh shit, like this is not good. This is really crappy. Sometimes there's like ledges and cliffs. And also, if you don't know, we had a cyclone quite a few months ago, but it just destroyed the whole beach. So the dunes are totally different, took lots of sand away. And sometimes the beach is really, really crap. But usually, it's still drivable. It's just really soft, boggy sand. So you let your tires down and you just cruise home. Like it's sometimes a bit sketchy as well at nighttime because there's like razorback sort of cliffs. Like you just have to drive really slow and it's really, really crap sometimes. But on this night, the road you drive down, it turns into sand. So you go down a ramp and it just turns to the beach. And as you turn left to head towards the village, basically what had happened is the ocean water had come up and started pooling and it was like making this like big, massive like lagoon on the top of the section where you drive at the top close to the dune. So usually you drive close to the dune at high tide so you can make it home. But basically the water had made a little cliff and a little ledge that the water was holding at the top. And then there was this like little stream like heading back down. So it's kind of like filling up, like emptying itself out. So I drive down on the beach and there's this like small water crossing and it's salt water. And I'm like, right, okay, like, and also before I got onto the beach, one of the locals called me because I said, let me know how you go when you get home. And they're also a little bit more like okay with driving through the water. But I've done 3 alternators and I have a Troopy, and I've just learned how much rust is in my car. So now I'm like, I have got to care for her so she doesn't become a shipwreck. Anyway, so I'm like, how did you guys go when you got at the beach? And he was like, it's all good. Like we got through. It's really sketchy, but like let a little bit more air out of your tire and just don't stop in the boggy stuff. And let me know how you go. Like I'll keep my phone close by in case you need us to come pull you out. I'm thinking, oh my God, like this is so scary. So I'm thinking, okay, well, my tires are like 18 PSI or 20. I can't remember what I let them down to now. I let a little bit more out and I drive down and I drive through this like ocean crossing. And then as soon as I get through it, it is the boggiest, sloppiest sand. And the car just like, it was kind of like grabbing like in certain sections. It just kind of felt like I was bogged, not bogged, bogged, not bogged, bogged, not bogged. Like I was just like dragging the car through it basically. And there's like this massive water lagoon. Like on the left is a water lagoon. There's like the tiniest section of like no water, but it's basically watery sand, and then the ocean like right beside me. And I'm driving through and like just feeling like I'm getting pulled everywhere because I'm like bogged but not bogged. Then I finally get through that, and then it's like kind of like whoopsies, like ups and downs for a little bit and just like a bit shitty. And then there's another section where there's like a cliff that had formed. So it's either you drive on the section that's not even, it doesn't even fit a car, or you drive through the water. So I had to drive through a little bit of water, but this is like small amounts of water, like, I don't know, 10 centimeters, 15 centimeters. So I drive through that and I'm just thinking, like, I'm sweating at this stage and I'm just thinking today's the day, like, and it's 9 p.m. at night. It's pitch black. There's no one else on the beach. And I've got another 5.5 kilometers to go. And basically the whole way was like that, me trying to move away from the ocean coming up, trying to avoid these lagoons and just trying to not get bogged. And just basically I just drove home in second gear and tried to stay as close to the dunes as I could on the top and avoiding the water and the cliffs. And anyway, so that was definitely one of the worst drives I've ever had because I was really concerned. The car getting washed away, bogged. Anyway, it was fine, but my God, the beach and like living like on the beach, it has so many pros, but things like that just make you realize like it's not, like it sounds amazing and it is amazing and I want to be grateful and I'm so grateful for living here, but oh my gosh, like things like that and just seeing how rusty the car is so heartbreaking, and it just makes it really tough. And even like seeing friends and stuff make it so hard because like right now we can't get into town until 10 p.m. So if you want to go out for dinner or whatever, you can't. So anyway, that's my story about driving home the other night. I honestly was so nervous and I feel like that really challenged my confidence on the beach. But I must say, being here a year and a half now, I'm yet to be like properly bogged, which touch wood, I am so grateful for. And just like having the car that I have and just having that ability to learn how to drive on the beach, I'm so grateful for it. I feel like this skill and confidence I can just take through, life, because this is my life. Like I love being off-road. I love forward driving. I love camping. So I just feel like this has really set me up for being able to drive in the sand in all conditions. So that is my story about driving home and living on the beach, which brings me to another thing about living on the beach. We have 10 weeks left here. My God, I can't believe it's 10 weeks. It's actually potentially 10 weeks, maybe a couple weeks longer, but we have 10 weeks. And we've just decided where we're going to go after here, which I think I'll just share a little bit later. But yeah, we have 10 weeks left on the beach and it's kind of a bittersweet. Like I just explained, we are so so grateful for living here. This is such an incredible opportunity to literally live in a village where 24 people live. We know everyone. Everyone is so kind. And we literally have the beach at our back door. Like, it takes me a minute and a half from door to water. It's amazing. And like I said, as much as we've loved it, we're actually quite excited to get off the beach, not just for the fact that my car is struggling, but it's for things like, just being able to see people and have that ease of access to friends, to the gym, just not having that resistance there, and just being able to have things with a slight more convenience. I feel so ungrateful, but I am so grateful. And you guys know that I love, 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 love living here, but we are ready for change. And if you know me, I love change. If you know me really well, you know how itchy my feet get. So yeah, we're excited for the next place. We were going to go up north, but when our lease ends here, it's the rainy season for up north. And then that means if we were to spend 6 months up north and then come back down south, that means we would then end up back down south in actual winter, where it then rains down south, because the tropical and the non-tropical are different seasons in a sense. So I was thinking, do Tegan and Zach really want to have 6 months of the rainy season up north and then going into winter down south? No. So we've decided to go straight down south October sometime, and we're so excited. Now I'm just kind of thinking like, right, what do I need to get rid of to move with ease? I'm also slightly concerned that Zach will potentially be at work when we have to move, so that is going to be a little bit tricky. Now, I have moved so much on my own, but usually I'm not moving too far, and usually I have friends and family around that can help, which I do have friends, but again, I live on the beach. It's not easy. So hopefully, fingers crossed, and my manifestations can come to fruition that Zach is home when we move. So yeah, that's my little update about basically everything. And yeah, we're just really excited. I love moving. We do want to buy, and like I am starting to have this calling to buy and settle down. And, you know, I've kind of spoken about how we almost bought and all that, but my God, I just don't know if I'll ever be happy in one place. And I know it's okay to buy and keep moving. Yeah, just have to find that place. Anyway, let's dive into an intention for the week. So this next week, or when you're listening to this, I want us to do something that our future self will appreciate. I want us to do something for our future self that we will thank ourselves for. I want us to do something for our future self that's going to set us up for the goals that we're trying to reach. And I feel like when we look at our goals that we set at the beginning of the year, it can feel like, you know, we're already in July, like, you know, whatever, I'll do it next year. I'm like, no, make sure it happens. Like, so much happens in such a short amount of time. We are so capable of so much. So do something today that is moving you towards one of your goals. Do it, because your future self will thank you. And I am making sure that I work on my Learn to Meditate course to make sure that comes out, because I know so many of you want it, to learn how to regulate your nervous system, tune into that intuition, and just live a life that isn't so stressful or anxiety ridden. So it is coming, but this week, let's all do something that our future self will thank us for. So let's dive into today's topic. Now, if you're watching on YouTube and you're like, why does she look different? It's the next day. I've put on the same shirt. I've just gotten back from surfing. I've got zinc on, but we're making this work. So let's talk about starting a podcast. I wanted to actually start a podcast while I was studying fitness, because I was going through this time where I'm like, why does no one actually know this stuff? And I really wanted to share, and podcast was something that I was really getting into in 2018. Or like 2017, 2018. So I really was like, I want to start a podcast. I want to share all this fitness stuff. Like, I want to make sure everyone knows. And it took me until a year ago now to actually start a podcast. And that is because I had so much fear of being misunderstood, saying the wrong thing, being taken for my word, being judged, all of these things. And I want to speak about that today because I feel like I've spoken to quite a few people in the recent months that they really want to start a podcast, but they're feeling that resistance and that judgment and those thoughts are coming up. So I really want to speak to that. Also, people have been just asking what I use for my podcast. So I want to tell you because I don't want to like gatekeep, and I'm not saying my podcast is amazing and all these things, but like if you're just starting out and you want to know, this is what I do. So let's start with that and then let's talk about the fear, because I feel like the technical stuff is like the easier things than the emotions and the feelings that we get that come up when we are trying to move through a fear. So I started this podcast actually after having met Hilary McVeigh, and she's a human design reader and business coach. And I'm actually doing her course. It starts on Monday, which I'm really excited about. And she was saying like, you should start. I was like, what do you use? And she told me, and I was like, right, like I'm doing it. So that's pretty much how it started. I use Descript. It's an online platform and you pay per month for it. And I do all of my editing, all of my recording and everything in there. I was adding in a separate audio, which I'll tell you about, but I'm starting to use these because I feel like this works quite fine. I've been using these headphones because it clicks into my laptop, so then I don't have two different files. Because what I found was I was recording on voice memos on my Apple phone, but then I needed to link them together, and it just created more work, more time, and also the larger file on the laptop was like, there were a few like, it was glitching and stuff like that. So I thought, right, I need to just plug headphones straight into the laptop to make sure it works. So if you just want to do audio, you can literally record on voice memos. You can record on your voice memos and upload it from there. That is what I did for months and months. It's only been recently that I got a microphone, but it connects to my phone and then I have to upload it. So I'm actually going to stop doing that. But I do really like the microphone, which is just a JBL, like little microphone. You guys have seen it on my podcast. Anyway, so that is good, but it's more good for if you're just recording audio on your phone, because then you have good audio straight to your phone. That's all good. But if you want to do video, you can do it on Descript, and I just record straight from Descript. And now I'm connecting the headphones straight to my laptop. So that's super, super simple. It's actually quite easy to edit and everything. I take all of my ums and most of my likes out, all those things that I say way too many times. And it's quite easy to edit, especially if your headphones are connected. It makes it a bit more of an effort if you're connecting the two, but it is so possible. I just thought, for me, to make sure that the podcast happens, it has to be the easiest thing, super streamlined, and, no resistance or like things that I find really hard. So that is the technical side of things. I use Descript and literally Apple headphones at the moment, or my JBL if I'm just doing audio, because I really like the audio. And this really wasn't that expensive. It was under $200, and it comes with a little windscreen, which is a fluffy thing that stops all the wind and all the background noise. Basically what I do is I write a script of what I roughly want to say. Sometimes I read it word for word because that's just how I started and that's how I felt confident, because I feel like sometimes I'd be like, what am I going to say? And then I would finish too quickly and then I would get confused in my thoughts. So I wrote it out quite a lot at the beginning. And then as I've gone on, I've written less and less, and I just write little dot points to follow along, just so it is streamlined and it's a good story and everything sort of like it's educational or you're getting something out of it. I write my script in Notion and then I literally just hit record, and everything is both on my screen. I used to have it on my phone, but I don't like looking down, and I just want to be able to have everything here hands free because I like to speak with my hands. Not that you can even really see my hands if you're watching on YouTube. I also edit through the Descript and everything. Then what I do is at the end, I save it to my laptop and then I import it into Creator, which is the Spotify creators podcast app. That is also where I can see all of my data and everything, like who's listening, where they're listening from, how old are they, all of those types of things, top podcasts and whatnot. And then that then sends it to Spotify. Hopefully that all makes sense. It's actually quite simple. If I can do it, anyone can do it. And I've always spoken about on the podcast, technology is really not my forte. I honestly really struggle. Like even to set up a printer, so hard for me. And like I mentioned, I think it was 2 or 3 podcasts ago, like how I save everything onto USB and not a hard drive, because I'm a 90s baby and some of us are just so good at technology and I'm just not. But I'm determined to have a podcast and to have a website and to have an online course. So just come along the ride with me. That's all of the technical things out of the way. If you have any other questions about the podcast, like logistics, technology, just ask. Send me a message on Instagram and we can chat about it. Because I remember wanting to know and I just didn't know who to ask. And everyone that I followed, they had really high production podcasts. So I didn't know who to ask because I didn't know anyone. So basically I ended up started listening to a few that were like using the Creator Podcaster app. And then, yeah, Hillary basically said that she used Descript. So I was like, amazing, that's what I'm going to use. And I do have a friend and she's got a really cool podcast about the Formula Ones. She uses Riverside and that looks really good as well. And I've had a look at that as well, but then transferring things over, me and my technological skills, not good, but Descript is great. And it does so much more than what I even dabble in because technological dinosaur over here. That's all of the technology stuff out of the way. Let's talk about the fear that you have to move through when you're putting yourself out there. And this can literally just be on Instagram. Like if you're wanting to speak on Instagram and to share something that you're learning, or you just want to start sharing more, or you want to start a business and you need to put your face to the Instagram. Or if you're wanting to have a podcast, but you're afraid of what people might think, or afraid of being misinterpreted or judged, all of these things. When I first started, I was really nervous about saying the wrong thing, giving the wrong information, or just having an opinion I was a bit afraid of, which I still don't necessarily share a big opinion, which I probably should. But I was really afraid of being judged and being misunderstood. And this is quite a life theme for me. And I actually just found out the other day through Hillary's business course is my Chiron in my stars and astrology is in Leo. So that means that I am going to have a lot of resistance with being seen, which is so interesting because my rising star is Leo. Is that right? My rising? Yeah, so my rising star is Leo. So I am meant to be seen, but I have a lot of resistance with being seen. And what I notice for me, it is being seen, but being misunderstood or misinterpreted and taken the wrong way. Because when I'm listening and consuming other people's information, I have a really, genuine assumption that they mean well. And I just hope that people think that for me, but there's definitely a huge part of me that I used to think that people would have a bad interpretation of me. And I'm aware that some people listening to the podcast are just listening to listen to probably listen for their judgment, or they want to compare, or they just want to be nosy. Like I'm aware that there's those people there. And I'm actually so fine with them listening now and whatever. But I remember having the fear of being like, I hope those people aren't looking or listening and judging and talking, comparing, whatever the thing is. But now I'm like, I just don't care. I've just gone to this fact where I'm like, I just don't care. I'm here. I'm evolving. If my opinion changes, that's cool. If you like me, that's cool. If you don't, amazing, that's cool as well. Like I don't care. And I've just really come into this with the work that I'm putting out there, because I feel like sometimes as a creator, a coach, basically any profession, when you're putting yourself out there, you can really compare yourself. And that's what I did for such a long time. And there's still times where it comes up where I really compare myself to others. But I've really gotten to the stage where I'm like, no, I'm just putting my stuff out there. I don't care what anyone thinks or interprets it as. I'm sure there's one person that I'm helping. And that's just something that I think with moving through the fear and just doing the action, putting the podcast out, then that fear has just slowly diminished. So I think, and there's that saying like action cures fear. So I do the action, I put the podcast out there, and I feel a little bit less fearful every single time. And yeah, now I'm sort of at this stage where I'm like, yeah, people will misinterpret me, people will misunderstand, people will like not like me, and that's okay. I have to just be so solid in myself on what I'm saying, and knowing that I'm evolving and being so certain in that and being so loving and okay with that, then it just makes it feel a lot easier. So if you're feeling like you're afraid of being misunderstood, just really feel into that and know that you will not make everyone happy. There will 100% be someone that goes against what you've got to say. And yes, maybe months, weeks, hours, years later, you will change your opinion from what you once had, and that's okay. You're human, right? Like, for example, if you spoke to Tegan in 2018, I would tell you that everyone needs to go to the gym. But 2025, Tegan is telling you that everyone needs to do a form of movement that they love, you know? So your opinion is going to change, and that's okay because you're evolving. And if you had the same opinion as you did when you were 18 to 28 to 38 to 48 to 58, you wouldn't be evolving, you wouldn't be growing. So that's something to consider. I was also really worried that people, would mix my words or take things the wrong way. As a wellness advisor, I would be always consciously aware that people are listening to benefit themselves. And if I give out the wrong information, then it would feel negligent. And I always want to make sure that I do say the right thing, but I'm not perfect. So I think I just always hope that people take me for what it is. Leave what doesn't work and take what does and go with that. And honestly, like I just said, I think action cures the fear. The more podcasts I put out, the more I don't care. And it doesn't mean that I don't care about the podcast or the people that are listening. Like, I care so much for putting this podcast out, and so much for the people that do listen, the people that give me the reviews, the people that give me the 5 stars, the people that message me or voice note me after the episodes. Like, I care so much for those people. I love you and them so much. Like, I appreciate that action so much. And this is why I do the podcast. But for everything else, like, I just don't put any energy into it because that's not what I'm here for. And that's what we get to choose. We get to choose what we care about, right? Like, I care about putting out educational, fun videos, podcasts that help people evolve, be healthier, happier, all of the things. That's all it is at the end of the day. And if people want to interpret that in the wrong way, well, then so be it. That's a them thing, not a me thing. And that's really helped me just keep putting podcast out after podcast. And I think when I share vulnerably or share something personal, something that I'm going through, I'd still get a bit of they call it like a vulnerability hangover. Like, I feel like I've overshared. But I also think that the more that I do that, the more I get to connect with people. Like, people will reach out to me, and that feels really nice. So I think oversharing is definitely a thing that we can do, and I probably don't want to overshare certain things. And I keep a lot of my personal life personal. But yeah, I think being vulnerable is what creates relationships and community, and that's what I'm here for. So please, if you have ever thought about reaching out, please reach out, message me what you got from the podcast. Like, that is exactly why I created the podcast, is to build a community and to have deeper conversations, because I'm a Scorpio, I'm a projector, I'm a 4/6. I love deep conversation. There's nothing more that I love with my community. So please do reach out if you have wanted to. I've written 5 things that I have realized. So the first thing is that people live from their stories, their perspectives, their beliefs. So you just have to hope that people have a generous interpretation of you and leave those that don't. And like I said, action cures fear. The more you put it out there, the more it feels amazing. And remember that people's projections onto you are a reflection of their past stories, beliefs, limiting beliefs, perspective, whatever. It's all on them. It's nothing to do with you. People will also listen just to judge, just to, I don't know, gossip, see what I'm up to or whatever the thing is. But again, it's a them thing. It's not a me thing. And I just don't have energy for that. I don't even know if it happens. People will interpret you wrong. I just hope that people don't. And yeah, as an evolving, conscious human being, understand that you will change your mind. Your perspective will change, your understandings, your knowledge, you will change, but that is perfect because you're having a human experience and you're evolving. So if your opinion changes, that's cool. You don't have to explain it. You just get to be it. And the last one is, you can't make everyone happy. You can try and make everyone happy, but then you would never make yourself happy. And there's this saying, and it's like, if you're speaking to all people, you're speaking to none. Whereas if you're speaking to one person, then there is where your community is. So hopefully this eventually feels like a really big community. And that is honestly what I'm here for. I love my people. I love being around great people. I'm very selective with being around other conscious human beings because that's what I'm here for. And if you're listening to this, you're probably the same. So connect with me if you are wanting to reach out. At the end of the day, if you're feeling called to do a podcast, put yourself out there on Instagram, there's a reason that calling is there for you. There's a reason that you keep getting that ping, that idea to put yourself out there. I'm such a believer that just to follow those things, because when you do, it feels so good. And I had this ping for the podcast for so many years, and only now am I doing it, and it feels so good. It almost feels therapeutic. And sometimes we just have to move through for us, like move forward for you, not for others, or being afraid of what others will say. I do this for the people that want to be part of my community, and that's it. Like this is bigger than me. It's not just what I'm putting out into the world. It's creating a like-minded community for other souls. That's all it is. And I think when you think of things like that, it just takes like the second guessing and the judgment out, because when you put it outside of you, then you don't have the feelings. Like I'm like, this is bigger than me. It's a community of like-minded, healthy, conscious, spiritual souls. Like that's all it is. So if you're feeling like you want to start a podcast or put yourself out there in any other sense, do it. And do it because it feels fun, not because you feel like someone else is doing it so you need to do it. Do it because you have something to share, something to create, and it's going to feel so fun. And like I said, for me, it feels therapeutic, like sharing these things and talking about what's going on and to share these learnings. Everything just really sinks into my soul, and yeah, I just love sharing. If you are also here to build a community of like-minded souls, conscious earthlings, adventurous beings, and just those who want to take care of their wellness and their evolution, come and join the bandwagon. Send me a message, follow me on Instagram, and if you're in the Sunny Coast area, let's hang out. I would love that so much. I'm going to leave you there for the end of the podcast. if this has instilled something within you, go and start the podcast. If you need help, please reach out. I think I've given you all of the stuff that you need to get going. If you need to kick up the bum, send me a message and I can kick up the bum. But we all have these ideas within us. We all have these lessons that we need to move through, these achievements that we want to reach, and it's all there for us. So if you are wanting to start something, go and do it and let me know. Okay, until next week, enjoy your life, do things that make your heart happy, and shine in your authenticity. Bye.